Pike's pushed more and far enough ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah.
It's all about the entertainment, so I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it.
Look at Johnson! They haven't got it! He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening and welcome back to the JPB GT4 Championship Season 2 Round 4 live from Zandvoort. I am James Parfitt. I am going to be joined in the booth once more by my good friend Alex Goldschmidt, who's going to be alongside me here bringing us all the action of what is happening here at Zandvoort. We have 21 cars on the racetrack at the moment, and let's bring you up to date with what is going on in the standings. Standings at the moment. Chris Barnes is out in front by 1 point over Mike Pierce. Danny Weston is in third on 176 with Oromets in fourth on 171. Then Rob Williams on 162, Stefan Mellis on 150 and Stuart Rice on 146. Still very close there. Then you've got Chris Evans, Richard White, Ryan Taylor, Rachel Howell, Stuart Gibbons, Jason Addington, Damien Hurst and Callum Milam. In the teams, it's Triple P Racing AMG at the top of the standings on 354, with Triple P Racing AMR in second on 240. Then Team Zilla on 176, Bonsai on 150, Triple P Racing AMC on 47, and Air Smart Racing on 24. In the pros standing at the moment here as well. Oh, doubled up on that. Seconds. Just to adjust why all of a sudden it's decided it wants to double up standings for the pros. So let's bring you up the pro driver standings there as well. Richard Simnart is currently out in front, tied with Mikey Pollard, with Stein Wienemann in third, Tim Perry fourth, Arnaud Chonier fifth, Adam Hedgecock sixth, Derek Craver in seventh, Andy Jones in eighth, Tom Weston ninth, Gavin Petty 10th, Ian Manners, Chris Needham, Jordan Malcolm, Paddy Faulkner and Teague Ashburn. Behind that, again, very close championship, 15 points between first and fourth. So we'll keep an eye on that one. In the teams, AIRaceSummaries.com, Tracy team is out in front on 257. Altitude Esports in second with AIRaceSummaries.com. Jesse team in third on 196. Then you've got AIS Smart Racing, PDR, AIRaceSummaries.com, Lucy Team, Blade Designs, Performance Link Esports, and 19MX Raps Racing in the final place. You've listened to me ramble on long enough. Good evening to Ria, Alan Luff, Bill, Handsome Stew, and Piercy, who said it's hot here as well. Now, it isn't hot. We have made adjustments to suit everyone here, Piercy. It is 28 degrees at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We have changed to the afternoon sessions. We have also given you a different temperature. So we've listened to what the complaints was at the last races, of course, with Phillip Island being exceedingly hot as well. So we have listened, we've taken it into account, and we've adjusted it like we have, and after, of course, Road Atlanta last week as well. But let's bring Alex into the booth. Good evening, young sir. How are you?
Young? Oh, crikey. God, I've never been called that for a very long time, Mr. Parfitt, but a very good evening. Very good evening to everyone watching on JP Broadcasting. If you haven't already, smash that like, share, and subscribe button whilst you're at it. Yeah, great to be in the virtual commentary box here at cm.com Circuit Zandvoort. Just measures just over 4.25 kilometres, 2.6 miles. And you know what? We've got two really technical circuits back to back, fast flowing. They've got a lot of heavy braking zones, but Zandvoort over the years has been evolved. I mean, especially going into Gerlach, coming out of turn 1 at Tarzan, there's a lot more banking to contend with. So the drivers aren't going to have it easy. But yeah, Mikey Pollard tying with Richard Simnor at the top of the points at the moment overall. Yeah, to say it was hot in Road Atlanta, it was baking hot. It was like someone had stuck a jacket potato in the oven and left it stew for 2 hours at those temperatures. But yeah, I mean, it's great to be at a different track, and a circuit I actually visited, funnily enough, back in 2013 for the DTM. It's a really, really good circuit, very good layout, very compact. So we're going to see a lot of pack racing, and overtaking is going to be a premium tonight here, James.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think the run down into Tarzan, of course, is going to be an option for some of these drivers. Now, we've seen this in the Clios. Now, the Clio did the international, I think it was the national circuit, which is basically turning right after turn 5 and coming round and finishing the lap. Now, they were utilising that hairpin. Now, obviously, for these guys, we haven't got that here in the GT4s. They've got the run, the long run round 6, 7, and into that tricky 8 and 9, which leads into even trickier 10. Are we looking at turn 1 and turn 11, maybe, down before the sort of main focal points, Alex, for overtakes, or do we think we're going to see things a little bit more different than that?
Well, there's several places, especially in these GT4 cars, where you can really use a lot of slipstream, even though the aerodynamic properties are a bit more enhanced in terms of the Clios, despite being production-based vehicles. Coming up out of Hunsrück, and then the run up through Slaughtermarker and into Schivlach, which is at the top part of the circuit. If you can get the run through Schivlach, then you can get through into Masters quite easily. But then it's the run from turn 10, which is now known as the cm.com corner, right the way down to the very, very tight chicane complex at Hans Ernst. And that's a turn 1. That's a 2-stage chicane. And you're going to see it here. We've got Taro Oromets coming through into the complex here. So you've got to really sort of launch it up the inside. But you've got to have that conditioning of just sort of thinking, well, if I can keep to the inside a little bit more, get that overspeed, then that'll help. But yeah, coming out of the final corner, named after IndyCar legend Arie Luyendyk, that's, the banking is going to help, but then you've got to really be careful with the right-hand side tyres on a lot of these corners, because that's where a lot of the impact's going to be. That's where the tyres are going to be tortured. So we've got the 15-minute sprint race after our 10-minute qualifying, but then it's the feature race, the 45-minute adventure, whereby we will have a grid decided by the sprint race, and then we've got a mandatory pit stop. So can tyres possibly factor in for the first time this season? I think they might very well do so.
Yeah, I think they may come into effect. Now, normally we see, and they don't change tyres, right? Because, they feel they don't need to. Now, the word on the street, and by that I mean the word in the Discord, is the Porsche is probably going to be the strongest car. The Aston Martin is going to be the weakest car. The people in the Astons have come out and said it is not a track for an Aston Martin. Middle ground seems to be the Mercedes and the McLaren and the BMW, but the Porsche seems to be the strongest one, with the Aston Martin being by far what some have said the complete weakest one here. I think that could be significant for the likes of Simnar, for the likes of Pollard, Mikey Pierce, Tim Perry, Tom Weston. They're all in the Porsches. So are we looking at a Porsche lockout here this evening because of the way that the track is with these cars compared to the likes of the Aston Martin and obviously the Mercedes, BMW and McLarens?
Well, funnily enough, the IRL lap record was actually set by BMW, 143.3, as we were about to get the first couple of laps coming in. Richard Simnall comes across the line. Mike Pollard goes in, 1 minute 40.3. Oh, 6, and then Simnall goes straight in with a 143.92. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Derek Crowther's just put it P7 at the minute. He's done a 142.1, and he's just been pipped by Mike Pierce. Arnaud Chanonnier showing good pace in the Mercedes AMG, the 142, currently P5 at the moment on a 141.3. Yeah, I think the Porsche, again, like we've seen so far over the past 3 rounds, when we started things off at Oulton Park, then went to Phillip Island, then last week at Road Atlanta. Again, the Porsche seems to be the car of choice, but I would say it's not going to be as strong a lockout. You know, okay, the Aston Martin might be the weakest car, but when you've seen the prowess of what we saw from Andy Jones and also Paddy Faulkner, the latter who joined the series last time out at Road Atlanta, they really seem to get the Aston Martins working really, really well. So I'm wondering whether it's definitely going to be a front row lockout for Porsche. Whoever is going to be on that front row, it looks at the moment, it looks like it's going to be Simnor and Pollard with coming up to halfway in qualifying. But what's the running order going to be at the end of this qualifying session? I think Alan Luth has just come up with a very good point. The Porsche is very good over 1 lap, true, but tends to struggle later in the race. I think with the fact that that's Danny Weston who's been off, so that was coming out of the second part of Hans Ernst going into turn 13. But the thing is, the banking is the most severe that we've actually seen so far on any one racetrack. You know, you come across that through Tarzan, then you go through into this sweeping complex. So you've got a left and a right through Gerlachbocht, then into Hugenholtz, John Hugenholtz, a world-known circuit designer in his own right, and then you got Hunsrück. So the change of sideways lateral momentum through the sidewalls of the tyres, that's going to be crucial. So the drivers are going to have to watch for tyre pressures, tyre temperatures. If someone has a spin, you can flat spot quite easily, and then they might be thinking in the feature, right, I need to change these tyres. So I think this could really decide what happens in the race, because we've got 2 of them to go. We've got 60 minutes of racing coming up, with the latter one having a mandatory pit stop. I think this could be the point where we see a couple of other players apart from those in the Porsches really step up their game here at round 4. Yes.
Now, I do have an interest in that, being that we haven't seen Andy Jones out on the grid. The reason we have not out on the grid, and that is due to the fact that he has changed cars. And when you change cars, of course, we know you get a quali ban. So he's changed cars. He's now gone to the McLaren, and we'll have to see how that one works out for him there, because obviously at the end of the day, it's a Porsche lockout at the moment. So whether or not the Porsche might have been the better choice for Andy Jones, I don't really know, but he is under quali ban at the moment. That is why we have got no times on the board, and that is one of the rules for changing cars. Down in the AMS, I would say down in the AMS, but at the moment, Mikey Pierce is in 4th currently, doing an absolutely stellar job ahead of Chris Barnes, who's sitting in 9th here. That's going to be big for Pierce.
Yeah, then you also look at who's 3rd in the AMS at the moment. 11th place, the Estonian, as Tom Weston goes P7 overall on a 141.3. Tauno Oromets in the number 70 puts the BMW 3rd in AMS, but 11th overall. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be interested to see what Andy Jones brings to the table now that he's switched to the 570S. I mean, you look at what Stefan Mellis did at Road Atlanta. He was actually running a lot stronger than he has done in the opening 2 rounds at Phillip Island and Oulton Park. He had a mare in both of them. And I think it was the first race. He got into the top 10 when everyone just had all that calamity, you know, Simnor and all that lot. It was just like carnage, to be completely honest with you, at race 1 for round 3 at Road Atlanta last week. So... yeah, could Andy Jones be the proverbial dark horse and split the Porsches a little bit? Well, he's got a lot of work to do in the first race anyway with the quali ban.
Yeah, he has. He's going to have to try and come up from the back, which is even going to be harder for him. He might have been able to hooked up. He might have been able to drive that McLaren better than he would do the Aston Martin here. But the problem is obviously the amount of cars that are in front of him before he breaks into a, how can I put it? Can I put it? A position where he might separate the top 5 for the feature. Let's go with that for a minute as well. Now, they have done some updates on the circuit this week. That's what came out in this evening's or this earlier on's update from iRacing as well. So they've added flags to the building on the left-hand side that you can see waving there. Fixed some issues with the pit walls and turn 1 barriers appearing to flicker as the camera changed. And fixed some issues with some environmental objects appearing to flicker as the camera changed distances from them. So, there you go.
One thing I have noticed is that someone rearranged the front end of their BMW. Well done, Derek Crowther, even though he's put it. Now, get this, folks. It's a top 5 Porsche lockout with 35 seconds on the clock remaining. Derek Crowther is 0.8 of a second. Now, this is that Automets? That's Automets,
yeah,
I believe.
Just going off.
And he's just going off and stops. But Derek Crowther is only 0.8 off of Richard Simnor. So could he be the one to put the cat amongst the proverbial Porsche pigeons tonight? Well, we're going to find out in a couple of minutes. Oh, careful. Whilst trying to put on a fast lap, and you go on the grass there. But Chris Needham's just gone up to P10. Paddy Faulkner behind Arnaud Chanonnier as the timer has hit 0, and that is Quali done and dusted.
It is. So let's bring you up the grid for the first race of the evening here as well. It's going to be Richard Simnor out in front with Mikey Pollard in second, Stein Wielman in third, Mike Pierce there for the AMS in fourth, Tim Perry for fifth in for Altitude Esports, Derek Crowther sixth for Blade Designs, Tom Weston in seventh, Arnold Chanonnier in eighth, Paddy Faulkner in ninth, Chris Needham in 10th, Chris Barnes and Chris Evans 11th and 12th for the AMS. And we've got Torna Oromets 13th and Rob Williams. That's an interesting one actually, because Mike Pierce, Chris Barnes are first and second, Oromets is third and Williams is fourth. So that's going to be an interesting one for the AMS standings. Stuart Rice down in 15th, Ian Manners 16th, Richard White 17th, Stephen Mellis 18th, Rachel Howe in 19th, Andy Jones, of course, no time on the board, neither is Danny Weston, and he got a quali ban. Danny just could not wrap up a decent lap here in qualifying. So it's going to be up and running once more here. Handsome Stu, where's Sweendog when I need him? Well, Sweendog is not here this evening. We have G in the booth, the G-Dog in the booth here this evening as well. I think sometimes, Alex, you've come in at a moment and probably going, what is going on? Probably just don't worry about it. Just, go with it. So
Hey, you know what? Forget Sweendog. Goldie's in the building.
Oh, well, there you go. Goldie Looking Chains in the building. Do you remember him?
Hey, there we go.
Goldie,
shout out to the Welsh massive boy.
Yeah, Goldie Looking Chain there, if anybody doesn't know. Alan has said he designed Suzuka, did Ari Laurendijk.
No, John Hugenholtz. Ari Laurendijk, multi-time IndyCar champion.
Sorry, Hugendogs.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, Hugendog.
Term 3, if you're English and can't roll R's until they come out of expression here. So you might hear Alex give it all the wonderful names. I'll just give it the corner numbers, because trust me, you don't want me trying to pronounce some of these. So there we go. Let's see what happens here in race 1. Alex is the pronunciation king. Don't worry. Google Translate is Alex's friend.
Google Translate. I don't even touch that. God, dearie me. Besides, the funny thing is our esteemed colleague, Mr. Dan Pepples, will probably be even better than me pronouncing these names anyway, because he's Dutch. So there we go. But yeah, I've visited this circuit. I've got quite a few friends, including Dan, who live in the Netherlands and also the Benelux region. So they do pull me up sometimes, saying, "Hey, you got that corner wrong." But yeah, this particular circuit has hosted Masters of Formula 3, GT World Challenge, DTM, F1 Dutch Grand Prix. But the Porsche pace car very shortly, well, they're coming through Schivelak, which is a very, very demanding. It's a bit like Paddock Hill Bend, to be honest with you. It's a blind crest, and you're going down the hill, but you've really got to slow it down for Masters. And that's a very tight right-hander. And then it gets a bit tighter with turns 9 and 10. And then hands out, I mean, you can outbrake yourself completely. I've done it before on iRacing. It's not a pleasant feeling where you try and hit the brakes, you're late on the markers, and you go through the kitty litter and bang, straight into the barriers. So they've got to really be on point with regards to their braking distances here at Zandvoort.
Well, will they go through the kitty litter now with the added depth, of course? Let's not forget that there has been added depth added to the grass and the gravel. So there could be an interesting one here once more. We are on our pace lap as we're coming up to turn 11. Tight right-hander before we go round the left-hander of turn 12 here, and then on the run down into 13. Welcome in, Jamie Dangle. Good luck, Gibbo and Deck. You forgot the most important race, the European MX-5 Cup, said Alan there. I didn't know. Did you know that?
Well, to be honest with you, there's so much motorsport that happens. It's not you can't always keep a track of it, Alan. But props to you for pointing that out in the chat. Good on you.
Yep, well done. Thank you very much for that. We will write that one down for another time. So here we go. Now as well, Richard Simnor will become the pace car. He has backed everybody up here, ready to go. Is he going to bolt off that banking there? You can see coming round turn 14. Is he going to bolt as soon as he gets the opportunity, or is he going to hold it and wait and wait and wait? There's almost contact with him and Pollard at the front here as well for the AI Race Summaries Tracy team. Now he's gone. We are going to be up and running. The pace cars past the lights, and it's green, green, green here for the GT4 sprint race at Zandvoort. Pollard trying to cover off Veman there as they're coming into turn 1, but it is Richard Simnor out in front. Mikey Pierce is under attack from Tim Perry, and it's an AI Race Summaries Tracy Jesse team. 1, 2, 3 at the moment, and they've all made it through what looks like turn 1 and all the way down into turn 2 currently cleanly. And as I say that, Weston's gone round. Oh,
when he's collected another Merc in the process, that would have been Ian Manners behind him, and he's gone straight to garage. I mean, we're just going to have a look. They come out of Gerlach and they're on the run through to Hugenholz. So it's a sweet. Well, there's Gerlach, and now he gets a touch on the right rear. And then bang! Oh no! There was some afters, but the car that came into contact with him was unsighted. That's the problem. Yeah, Evans. He just had nowhere to go. Yeah,
Evans and Manners there unfortunately got caught up in that incident. It looked like there was a slight little touch from Paddy Faulkner on that one. I'm wondering how this one's going to work out then, and what's going to be mentioned as well. 13 and a half minutes remaining of this sprint race. Stuart Rice has found himself in second in the AMS there with Richard White. Andy Jones up 9 places in 11th. Danny Weston and Arnold Chagnon look like they have had a moment here as well with Stefan Mellis. Chris Barnes has been off track once more. This is how Danny Weston did his thing here, Alex, as well, and it's not been a good opening race and quali for Danny.
No, far from it. Just loses the back end. That would have been coming through more than likely turn 10 or the cm.com corner, and then 3 wide. Danny goes straight through the middle of them. That would have been into turn 13, originally known as Kumo, heading into the Adelaiendag-bocht. There's a lot of aggressive banking to the right-hand side. Oh no, that's Derek Crowther into the barriers.
Faulkner again. Poor old Paddy Faulkner here has not had a great opening to this race. It looks like Williams has also been off as well. Mikey Pierce has now allowed Paddy to go through. I don't know if we have got, this is the weirdest race I've ever seen. Evans, Chardonnay, Crowther, Howe, Weston, Barnes and Orametz all in the pits. I have never seen that many cars over 2 laps. Look at Williams's car. It's battered. Absolutely battered.
Well, the steering's not doing anything, and then well, he's lost front and rear bumpers. That's the beauty of the new.
There's
he lost it. That's Sheev. That's in Sheevluck, and it's caused absolute madness.
Yeah,
I have never.
Oh man!
Oh my goodness!
Was that Barnes?
Evans and Chardonnay have rejoined. Weston was in the pits for 34 seconds. Orametz, Barnes, and Howe, they're all still in there. Yeah, there's a lot of damage. I mean, look, just a turnaround between the two sends him off into the barriers on the left-hand side, comes across, redresses, bang, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's at least 10 cars of the field in some way involved in all of that. Now, the only thing that I'm thinking of is that when Manners got harpooned into the barriers, the thing is, he would have gone straight away. There's force feedback coming through his steering wheel. He'll be trying to hold the brakes, but then the car just drifted across the circuit, and it was like everyone else was unsighted. Bang, and pandemonium. It was like a cacophony of errors at that point going through into Sheevluck. It's just 2 cars come together, and then it just cannonballs that effect.
Yeah, it definitely was there as well. I think Barnes and Arnold Chardonnay were the main protagonists in that. Unfortunately, it looks like Rachel Howe got caught up in it as well. We saw Rob Williams get caught up in it. Chardonnay, Crowther's still into the pits. Weston's still in the pits as well. This has been a very weird opening here, and it looks like the drivers have almost, I don't know, just lost all sense of ability here at the moment. But up front, Simnel, Pollard and Wienemann have managed to avoid this carnage here and are now out in front with 10 minutes remaining of this sprint race. There's going to be some tough racing from some of these guys in this feature, Alex, coming up, because there's going to be a lot of drivers out of position.
You know what? I mean, I spoke when we did the post-race interviews at Road Atlanta, when I spoke to Steen Wienemann, and I said, look, we're on your home turf. Now, the thing is, Simnel and Pollard are ahead. Simnel's checking out. He's about half a second ahead of Mikey Pollard. They're both tied on points. So this is going to keep the top of the pro standings very, very close going into race 2 tonight. But Wienemann has got Tim Perry a little bit further back, about 1 3/4 seconds. So these three now, Mikey Pollard dives to the inside of Tarzan Bach. He was late, very late on the brakes. And as I say that, new fastest lap by our driver. It's the Flying Dutchman in P3, 1:40.062. Simnor was 8/10 slower, Pollard 6/10 slower. That's Andy Jones getting past, that's on the
Richard
inside
White.
of Richard White. That's for 9th. So Andy Jones, making the switch to the McLaren, I think has done an actually pretty solid and shrewd move here. He knew that there was going to be chaos, and he's just kept his nose clean. So that car now up into 8th. He's closing in on Stuart Rice just up ahead by, Stuart Rice's previous lap was a 1:43.3. Andy Jones set his personal best, 1:40.9. So Andy's now feeling a lot more comfortable. And look how close he is. This is going through into Sheevluck, into Masters. Jones to the inside. He's going to thread the eye of the needle up the inside. That is P8 for Andy Jones from 20th to 8th. And we're not even halfway through the race. Jones is on a mission in that McLaren.
Yeah, he definitely has. He's looking at trying to get onto Chris Needham now. They're about 3 seconds up the road. Stuart Rice and Richard White could be having a nice little interesting battle. Barnes and Orametz further down, of course. Both of these drivers been involved in, I'm not sure. We could call it chaos, I guess. Here, Rachel Howe has been off track and is now back in the pits once more. Weston's not actually come out of the pits at the moment either. So he's going to be at the back for race 2. And Zandvoort at the moment here, Alex, well, as YouTube chat said, it's not taking no prisoners.
And it's punishing very slight mistakes very, very harshly as well, James. That's the big thing. As soon as I mentioned it earlier, you make one wrong mistake, you are going to end up in the barriers. The runoff area is minimal here. It's a tight circuit. We're going to have another one like this next week. We've got Brands Hatch GP, another circuit that is tight, that is demanding. There's a bit more overtaking opportunities at Brands Hatch, but here at Zandvoort, it is close quarter. You are going to be on the absolute limits of adhesion. And what's more, I would probably think that every single driver, after the 45-minute feature race a little bit later on, is going to be absolutely perspiring to Kingdom Come.
Oh, yes, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt very much, to be honest. You know, I've got a storm where I am at the moment, and I'm still sweating. I've got a funny feeling these drivers are going to be doing a lot more sweating than I am. Obviously, at the end of the day, we're just sat here talking. You know, that's it. My worry is the fact that Barnes and Aldermets are coming up to be lapped by Simnar and Pollard and Wienman as they go into turn 12 on the left-hander. You can see them now keeping it in, grabbing some curb on the exit, and now going into turn 13. That long sweeping right-hander here with Pollard not giving Simnar a break here, Alex. He's sitting up right behind him at the moment, and he's not allowing him to get away. And I think for Simnar's point of view, with only 6.5 minutes here, there is some, you know, defending he's going to have to do.
There's also the back markers up ahead as well. That's going to play another factor into this. I think Steen Wienman's doing a very, very shrewd job, keeping it in P3, having the ringside seat, knows this track like the back of his proverbial hand. He's probably visited it to see motorsport in real life on multiple occasions. But you've got to look at it that track knowledge will be definitely in the favour of the Dutchman in the number 66. I mean, he is running comparable pace to Simnar and Pollard. They were the class of the field in qualifying. But I think the dark horse here is Wienman. Wienman will know where to push, when not to push. And as soon as Simnar and Pollard close up to these back markers, the first one isn't that far ahead of Richard Simnar. And this could be the joker, the get-out-of-jail-free card that Steen Wienman could use to win the race in the sprint.
Yeah, I think so. What is Wienman going to be able to do here now? There has been much debate about how this name here has been said. I've been trying all week, and obviously I played poker with Wienman the other day, and he did say at one point during the broadcast that we did get it right. Now, it isn't how, Alex, we think it's pronounced. How would you say his name?
What? Steen?
No.
Steen Wienman?
Not Steen.
Stein, probably, because
Stein.
IJ normally represents a Y in Dutch.
Yeah, it's Stein Wienman, as in Wienman. So there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not that's going to be right, because he might tell me something completely different, and he was just winding me up. But that's how it was, and you know, I did say to him, that's my final guess. I'm not going anything else. That's what you're going to be called. Andy Jones and Chris Needham going at it here as well for 7th and 8th. Overall, 6th and 7th in class. Piercy's doing a great job. Stuart Rice nestling in 2nd at the AMS at the moment, and is doing a wonderful job from him. A great effort there from Stuart Rice. He's kind of capitalized on everybody else's mistakes and has managed to get that position. Andy Jones is just going to put it up the inside of Needham. Needham made a mistake coming out of turn 3. And now Andy Jones putting it up 13 places here, Alex. 7th overall, 13 position gained. That's incredible for him.
Well, considering the fact that Andy Jones has gone from a front-engined rear-wheel drive Aston Martin to a mid-engined V8-powered McLaren 570S GT4. So what he's done is that he's sacrificed that top-end grunt for handling prowess, and that's exactly what you need here at Zandvoort. So his decision is, I think, not just correlating to what we've got next week at Brands Hatch. You know, you look at Manicure, there's going to be quite a few long straights. Suzuka's going to be a handling track. Road America, Sebring and Nurburgring, those will play to the strengths of the McLaren. So I think Andy Jones has gone for the long game. He's decided, well, I've had the fun with the Aston Martin. Now let's try and up the ante. Let's bring a McLaren into the fold. And him, along with Stefan Mellis, who's currently running in 13th place overall, running, I think, P5 in the AMS. Mm-hmm. he showed what the McLaren's capable of amidst a slack load of Porsches last time out. As we've got an interesting battle here. This is going to be Mikey Pierce versus Paddy Faulkner coming out of Tarzanbocht, now into Gerlach. And then it's going to be about how they both approach the banking through Hugenholz, which is now going to come up now. Some drivers tend to swing a little bit wider to carry the apex speed through, because you don't see anyone going... it's a bit like a NASCAR turn. People will go high and wide to carry the momentum through, and you won't get many people looking to the inside through Hugenholz coming out of Hunsrück, and now they're going into Schieflach. Again, like I said, it is a blind crest downhill, not as aggressive as Paddock Hill Bend, which the drivers will be taking very good care of, trying not to whack the sausage curbs on the inside of the apex next time around for round 5.
Yeah, definitely. This battle is going to be heating up. Unfortunately for Paddy Faulkner, he has been involved in one of the major incidents with Weston, Faulkner, Evans and Manners, and then of course had the incident with Crowther. So over lap 1 and lap 2, Paddy Faulkner there was involved in 2 incidents involving 4 different cars. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen after this. I'm wondering if there's going to be a wonderful exchange of not so nice wedding vows, but I'm sure they will talk it out here, which is one of the things we do promote within the JPB League. Talk it out, be respectful. Final lap of the race. Pollard's going to be looking at going for it over Simnon now. They've been battling away all the way through. Pollard's going to try the outside line of turn 1.
He's brave.
He's brave, but he should have... If he carried that, Alex, he would have had the inside for 2. So I suppose technically it would have worked both ways.
Yeah, but there's still a few more overtaking opportunities for Mike Pollard as both him and Simnor go high and wide, as does Wiedmann through Hugenholz and out of Hunsrück. And now they've got the run through into Slaughtermarker. This is where you really need to carry the speed through. I mean, Wiedmann is going to have an opportunity by being on the inside of row number 1 when we go green for the next race. But he is actually closing a lot more now. The gap was a second at the beginning of the final lap. It's now 7 tenths. Now they're coming into turn 9. So Beanman will use his track knowledge to his best ability. But yeah, Pollard, that was his only real opportunity. He dived up the inside a little bit earlier on Simnor into Tarzan, about at the halfway point. But Simnor has just controlled the pace from the very beginning, and he's on course to taking the first one in the night.
Yeah, I think it is really Simnor's to lose here. He's got literally 3 corners left of this sprint race. He will start the feature on pole position as they're going into turn 13 for the final time in the sprint. The clock is down to 0. Off the banking of 14 we go, and it is going to be Richard Simnar who's going to take the victory. Simnor now comes over the line. He wins the sprint race here as well. In the arms, it's going to be Mikey Pierce. Pierce is going to come across the line and take that victory in the arms, and Stuart Rice is going to do a fabulous job, and hopefully, if he can, finish in 2nd, while Richard White finishes in 3rd. So a great job from some unknown protagonists, Alex, in the arms there.
Yeah, but keep your eyes for Andy Jones from 20th to 7th, a gain of 13 positions in this opening race, where he kept his head and everyone else lost theirs. Those that finished behind him, the likes of Odomets, Barnes, Williams, Crowther. Crowther having that backwards moment into the barriers. There's Stefan Mellis coming into the Arie Leyendijk Bocht, the 14th and final turn. A lot of excessive banking there as well. Very much in the same vein as Hugenholz through turn 3. Stefan Mellis will be, I think, pretty content with that, but knows that for race 2 coming up very soon, the feature race, 45 minutes plus a pit stop, where they're going to have to take on fuel, as we have for the JPB GT4 series, that everyone is on 50% fuel, and you will not make it to the end of a 45-minute feature without a mandatory stop.
Yeah, no, definitely. That is a definite. They will have to pit here. Here is race 1 results. Richard Simnor in 1st, with Mike Pollard in 2nd, Stein Wienmann in 3rd, Tim Perry 4th, Paddy Faulkner is in 5th. Mike Pierce in the AMS takes the victory in race 1 with Andy Jones and Chris Needham 7th and 8th overall. Stuart Rice, Richard White wraps up the podium here as well. Ian Manners, and then we've got the likes of Danny Weston, who's doing a great job considering he started at the back in 12th. Stefan Mellis 13th. Arnold Chagnonier, Chris Evans, Chris Barnes, and then Torno Oremets in 17th place. Robert Williams 18th, Crowber 19th, Rachel Howe and Tom Weston the last man there as well. An interesting start here, Alex, but we've all about the main event, the 45-minute with a pit stop. And that pit stop is going to be vital for some of these drivers to get right. Otherwise, it could be the difference between positions gained and positions lost here.
Well, if anyone might want to cast their mind back to Road Atlanta last week.
Hold on.
The feature race.
Okay, give me a minute. I'm heading back there now. Okay, go on. I'm there.
Right, okay. Anyone might remember the feature race last week. What a battle we had right up until the checkered. You know, it was a race that no one could have predicted who was going to win. I was sitting on the fence, waited, and then we had, who was it? Was it Mikey Pollard that took the win, didn't he? I think, if I remember correctly. And sent it around the outside of turn 10A with about a lap and a bit to go on Richard Simnor, and then took the win. It was just like, are we going to see that happen again? But we know that by the first race, that has set a precedent that someone makes a mistake, it doesn't matter where you are on the grid. If you're on the front of the grid, that's a lot better for you to be there here at Zandvoort, as opposed to, let's say, seeing where the likes of Chagnonier, Faulkner, Needham, Barnes, Evans, Oremets, Williams, Rice, Manners, you know, they are in that danger zone.
I fully agree with you. I do fully agree. And let's be real about it. There's going to be a lot of movement here. There's going to be a lot of movement amongst these drivers. So let's see how this one pans out as well. And I think that's going to be the interesting thing, how it pans out with the racing. There's going to be a lot of people, I think, with the incidents out of race 1, Alex, there's going to be a lot of people that might be out of position compared to where they normally would be, and their pace takes them. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of movements here, but it'd be interesting to see how it turns out.
I think it's more a case of, we know for a fact that you can't win a race on the first lap, but you can certainly lose a significant amount of ground. You know, the amount of casualties that we had being fired off the circuit into the barriers, and then having to try and claw back as much as they could. Whereas you see, you know, Andy Jones is going to be starting the top 10. From that perspective, the race that he did was absolutely spot on. Okay, yes, he had a quali ban. He thought, you know what, all these people in front of me, I'm going to just get myself through the first 1 or 2 laps, try and avoid any of the melees that happen, which we saw quite plentiful last time out just a few minutes ago when we went green. Jones, I think, could make up a bit more ground. If he gets a top 5 or maybe a top 3 finish, that will have been a very, very steady and consistent performance, considering he's had to change cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Piercy there, I lost audio in lap 2. They managed to get 2% volume back, maybe? Yeah, I think that's right. So there we go. 56 seconds on the clock here, Alex. What do we think is likely to be happening?
Well, I think that Veman, if he, you know, Simnor's going to do exactly what he did last time. It's the first time we had a proper like rolling start where he backed them up big time, and then bolted. Literally about what 5 car lengths coming out of the final corner. He's got that opportunity to do it again, but by bunching up the field, it means that it gives him more of an opportunity to try and sprint away. Like we saw, he you know, Mikey Pollard tried to go with him. Stein Veman tried to do as well, and they finished within about 1.5 seconds of each other after that first race. I think it's the case that if Simnor employs the same tactic, I think we could see the same as what we saw at the start of the first race.
Yep, I think so as well. The warm-up is coming to the end. Every driver, there's been a lot of action in the chat. Everybody's apologised and got their apologies over and done with before race 1. Are they going to be needing to do the same at the end of race 2. So let's bring you up the grid here for the JPB GT4 Championship, sponsored by Sim Racing Community. Go and check them out at simracingcommunity.com. Richard Simner is on pole. Pollard and Beanman are 2 and 3, with Tim Perry in 4th. Paddy Faulkner in 5th. Mike Pierce 6th. Andy Jones 7th. Chris Needham 8th. Stuart Rice 9th. Richard White 10th. Ian Manners in 11th. For Danny Weston there in 12th. Then we've got Stefan Mellis, Arnold Chagnonier, Christopher Evans, Chris Barnes, Torno Oramet, Rob Williams, Dick Crowther, Rachel Howe, and then hopefully Tom Weston. So let's see, can I do a petition for a 10-minute warm-up to Stein Veeman there between races? No, too long. I know me and Alex can waffle, but I think that's quite a lot of waffle.
There's only so much we can do.
Yes, you know. I know we're good, but we're not Supermen.
All I'm going to say is trying to see how many times he can count with regards to how we get his name mispronounced.
Yes.
Possibly. That's why he's probably petitioned for a 10-minute warm-up. Sorry, Stein, you're out of luck there, mate.
Yes. Exactly. I think that's the thing, right? Normally, you know, you're pretty on it with pronunciations, and I'm just pretty rubbish, right? There are some that I can get if I've had to use Google Translate or Converter or whatever they call it to be able to basically pronounce it for me, and then I just basically go repeat it in my head over and over and over and over again. But normally we're pretty good, but I've never had a name where we've got it so wrong, and especially you are like the pronunciation king.
Even I
letters.
have off days.
Yeah.
Even I have off days. So, Stein, sorry about that, mate. But the funny thing is that one of my friends whose son is actually running the BNL karting series. I'm flying over to Eindhoven, and if people say, "Why don't I pronounce the N?" You hear someone from either Belgium or the Netherlands say the word Eindhoven. No, they don't pronounce the N. It's like with Max Verstappen. That's how they say it in the Netherlands. They don't pronounce the N.
Did a car disappear, says Crypto?
Well, we got 21 on the grid.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of this.
But look, you know what I said? You know what I said about Simnor? He's doing it again. He's backing them up.
Yeah, but he's early. He's well early. He's on round turn 8 at the moment. He needs to stay within a certain distance of that wonderful Porsche pace car, of course. But I think once they start heading off round 13, he will just let it go and sit back there as well. Crypto's asked, how brutal will this one be? And Handsome Stew says, you got my name right, James. That's always good, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't, mate.
Yeah.
If you ever want to laugh at a broadcast, go and watch that UK Sim Racers from yesterday. It was. Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. It was us trying to be professional while giggling like children. It was just unbelievable. But it is a great laugh. And Stu was here yesterday, winding it up and not really helping the situation, must I say.
That's his own fault then. You can blame him.
Yes, he did kind of antagonise the situation here as well. But we are coming to the end of this pace lap here, and gave Zach Sweeney the name Sween Dog. And of course, I never heard the end of that either, unfortunately. So, yes.
That name's going to stick, isn't it? You're going to introduce him like that through every JPB broadcast now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm James Barber along with Sween Dog. It just doesn't work, does it? You know what I mean? It
doesn't sound right.
No, it just doesn't. So let's see what happens here as well. Weston's at the back. He is on the grid. He was saying that he might not make race 2. He got a bit aggy and off he went. But he's here. So I've challenged him to see what he could do. But we're ready for the start. Stimnor is doing that wonderful thing again here. He is backing everybody up round this banking. Now, some would have bolted already. Simnar decides that no, he is not going to bolt. Richard White is moving out. However, Simnar now has bolted And he's now opened up the legs of that Porsche. He's pushed that pedal straight the way down at the moment, and it's a battle down into turn 1. Simnor going through, Pollard in second, Perry trying to go around the outside of 1 on Vinman here as well. Paddy Faulkner on in 5th place, staying out of trouble this time around. Further back, Chris Barnes has just taken the Ian Manners there as well, and Barnes trying to move his way through once more. Oh, then almost 3 wide there with Danny Weston. Oh, they managed to make that one, Alex, but boy, oh boy, was that close.
Perry was actually waiting like Shere Khan in the Reeds at Jungle Book just to try and time what was going to happen, and nearly got the jump on Wienman going through Tarzan, but heading into Gerlach and then into Hugenholtz. He was a bit of a sitting duck. Danny Weston's off the track. Chanonier's dropped and he's in the pits. Oh, Chanonier might have had a bit of a drama. That's a real shame for the Frenchman. In the 142.
Well, there's Danny Weston. Chanonier's just behind him here as well. I'm wondering if Chanonier just follows him off the side.
Oh! He lost the back end and had a tank slapper into the right-hand side of Danny Weston. But Chanonier just completely lost all control. That is not what you want to have happen.
No.
I mean, Danny Weston was quite lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, so the worst thing is as well, did you notice what manufacturer we were looking at? Both Mercedes had gone off at the same time there. Tom Weston has slowly moved his way through the field now. Tom's sitting in 17th, up 4 places. So Tom is trying to do the business down here. Chris Evans and Richard White going side by side. I do love that new banking. I've got to be honest, it does look epic on that one. It reminds me of a turn on a NASCAR circuit. I'm not going to lie. Going down into turn 1 there as well. Evans on the inside of White. White tries to close the door. Oromets tucked right behind him as well. Evans has managed to push that line there as well. You can hear the sucker breath from Alex Goldschmidt. Be with me in the booth. This is epic racing earlier on. And the great thing about it, Alex, is it's clean, clean, clean.
I did say that it was about keeping your nose clean. Unfortunately for Chanonier, he was a bit tail happy. But Chris Evans closing in on Ian Manners through Shivlak of all places. We ride on board with the Aston Martin currently rounding out the top 12. And now Manners nearly has a moment. Evans nearly has the same, but he's right on the back. Oh, Tim Perry. Tim Perry's lost it. Tim Perry's lost 2 positions. Make that 3. Has Perry had a big old off? Yes, he has. And he's got Mikey Pierce to his outside. So Andy Jones, 20th in the first race at the starting position, got up 13 places and now is 4th.
Incredible. Let's have a look and see what happened to Perry here once more. He's got Andy Jones. He
just went on the runoff area.
Yep, and he just unfortunately stuck there as well. The only good thing now with that added depth is that car would have been round on the old form of grass within iRacing here. Didn't quite go this time, and Perry was unable to manage to hold it. It's battle in the arms though. We've got Evans, White. There's Evans is peeled off. No, that is Evans peeled off into the pits. Oromets is trying to go at Richard White here as well. Oromets in that BMW has got that inside line. Crowder's trying to come through as well after being involved with an incident with Paddy Faulkner in race 1. Crowder's trying to move his way. The last season's AM champion that did get promoted here is now sitting in 14th place and doing a stellar job. Weston fighting out. Oh, Weston's come round.
Oh dear.
Now was that on his own though this time?
Let's have a look. Well, they're going to fire it into the corner. Yeah, he's got the Aston Martin. That was Rachel Howard just in front of him. Oh, he's slightest tap, but he's just lost the back end himself. I think he was on the loud pedal. Gets a little bit of a nerf on the left rear. So Tom Weston is very, very lucky. Richard White has just had an off track. And then we've got Stefan Mellis, who's battling away with Danny Weston. This is for 15th on the road, and this is coming through turn 9. So Danny's trying to carry the speed through. He's got Rob Williams right up his rear trumpet at the minute, going through into 10.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the interesting things here, Alex, as well, with Williams. Now, I've been speaking to Williams all week. Obviously, I'm IRL outside of iRacing, and he basically, when we were talking, he's saying he feels he would be all right here. Now, obviously, he got caught up in that major carnage in turn one, on lap one in the sprint, which caused him a mass amount of problems, and he had to start all the way down, basically in 18th place. What his main target is, he has said to me, is basically whatever happens, I've got to try and get as close to Torno Oromets as I can to maintain my position in the championship, because he's only, I think it's like 8 points back at the moment from Oromets in third. He's actually 9 points back, sorry. So for Williams himself, his main target, he's either got to stay with Mellis and Weston and try and pull himself up into Oromets here. He has got a bit of a gap, mind you. I'm not going to lie, because Satoru Oromets at the moment is about 6.5 seconds.
Oh, Weston, what a move on Mellis. Weston coming out of Hunsrück did a number on Stefan Mellis on the run up to Slaughtermarker. Absolutely brilliant. He just carried the momentum through. Mellis went a little bit deep and went a bit too low through on the exit of Hunsrück, and Danny Weston just went right round the outside. I'm going to do the old M&M. In the meantime, we've had the fastest lap from Stein Veenman, 1 minute 40.419. He was 2.5 tenths quicker than Mikey Pollard. He was over 2 tenths quicker than Richard Simnor. Gap between the top three now, 1.5 seconds and closing.
Oh, Mellis has made a mistake. That's allowed Williams through. Williams has gained that position. 7th in class at the moment is now Williams. He managed there. Mellis made a mistake, and he said thank you very much did Williams. And unfortunately for Mellis, that's dropped him down to 17th place here. We've got this Oromets, Manners and Crowther battle. This has been getting spicier and spicier, like a vindaloo in a curry house here once more, and these guys scrapping it out as Oromets and Crowther going side by side at the moment. Pit window roughly round about 25 to 15 minutes remaining. It depends on what their situation is, whether or not they've done any saving, whether or not they've just got full bore, what the situation is, but it's normally between about 25 and 15 minutes left of the race. So let's see what happens here as well with Oromets in the BMW, Crowther in the BMW, and I got to give a shout out to Ian Manners here as well. He's done a great job so far, holding on to this 8th in class, 11th overall here, Alex, and for Ian Manners, that's a great job.
Well, notice the fact that Oromets is behind Crowther. The reason being is that Oromets dipped the left rear wheel into the kitty litter coming out of turn number 13, and that allowed Crowther to get the momentum through turn 14, the Arileindijkbocht, to get through and was around the outside of the start-finish straight and got the move done before they'd even got the apex of Tarzan at T1. So Crowther just starting to really find his stride a little bit, to be honest with you. Chonionye has not moved anywhere, so he is out. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we've got two BMWs battling away. But yeah, Ian Manners, he's not had the best run of luck. I mean, especially at Phillip Island and at Road Atlanta the last couple of rounds. But Crowther is really closing in on him. The BMW, as I said earlier on, has got the in real life lap record, which was for, funny enough, this year in June at the ADAC GT4 Germany, which actually ran at this circuit. Of course, it's a bit different with sim racing, because there'll be a bit more weight on the car, a bit more ballast, a bit of the old bop, the old balance of performance. But that's a bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, Needham went past Barnes, and then he got it all wrong, overshot turn one. Now, I am surprised Needham hung on to that, and Barnes didn't challenge a little bit more. But as we're looking at it here as well, no, that was Rice, sorry. Rice did challenge back. But as we're looking at it here, Alex, it's Pro-Am. There's really no need for Rice to go at Needham here, but I would have thought he would have put Needham under a little bit of pressure, considering Needham had run really, really deep. So let's see what happens here. You can see at the moment most of the battles are in the AM. Stuart Rice being closed down by Ian Manners, and Crowther with Oromets behind him as well. Williams trying to battle it out once more further down the order. This is 1.7. Mellis has got back in front of Williams, and Williams is going to have to go again. But Crowther, Rice, all going at it. 2 wide, 2 deep. Coming round turn 10, Alex here as well. Is it going to be 3 wide going into 11? That's not going to work. Manners has managed to get Rice. Crowther didn't this time around, and he's going to have another look now as well into turn 11.
Well, I wonder what the improvement on Bogoff is. Buy one, get one free. He got the buy one, get 2 free. Well, he got 3 out of that one, to be honest with you. But yeah, again, but we've got to concentrate on the leaders a little bit, James, because the gap between first, second and third, Simnor, Pollard, Wienman, a second. And Wienman again has just put in the fastest lap. There they are, coming through Gerlach and into Hugenholtz. I think Wienman is looking rather happy here because he's again just letting Pollard and Simnor just sort of trade laps. They lapped at the top 2 last time round, lapped within 1/1000th of each other. Wienman a 1:40.385. I think that Wienman is the one, as I said earlier on, this is his home circuit. He'll know this very well. Yes, we know the credence and the capabilities of Simnor and Pollard, but you've got to really factor that Sloan Wienman is the one that I think could really factor into this. If he gets an undercut on the pit stop phase, then he's golden.
I'm wondering, you know, I don't often ever doubt what you say, Mr. Goldschmidt, sir. I'm wondering if he doesn't have the pace, you know. And I know it's his home circuit, and I know he looks like he's sitting there like a prowling lion trying to chase down 2 injured gazelles, but he didn't really make inroads in race 1. That's my fear, the fact that he didn't make inroads in 1. Is it going to be the same in the feature? Was Simnor and Pollard just too strong for Wienman here, and that's why he couldn't get close to him? Is he going to have to rely on the undercut or overcut in the pit stops to try and stay ahead of him? Yes, I know we're talking about lap times, and he's not too far away either. You know, it's a dead 1:47 for Simnor, 1:44.7 for Mikey Pollard, 1:43.8 for Wienman. But I'm wondering if he just can't get there or is choosing not to, but his race 1, he was in the same boat as well.
The thing is, with these 45 minutes feature races, JP, I'm looking at the longer game. I mean, Wienman will want to get a win here, 100% without a shadow of a doubt. By staying where he is, he's getting a little bit of draft from Pollard, so that is going to help him with his fuel mileage. He won't be able to, he won't need to go full throttle like the 2 in front of him are, because Simnor's punching that hole in the dirty air. Pollard's getting the majority of the wash behind him, and then Wienman's staying just about enough away, about 0.6 of a second. Pollard now realises, I've got to make a move soon if Simnor makes a mistake. Simnor was a little bit wide coming out of turn 9 and into the run into 10. So I'm wondering if the Porsches are now going to struggle, and it's about who keeps their calmness under and composure right about now. Because Wienman is within half a second. He's within half a second of Pollard, and through the Hans-Ansbach complex, and now through into turn 13, you can see that Wienman has got a bit more confidence in particular parts of the circuit, especially where he knows he can be a little bit later on the brakes because he'll use Mikey Pollard as a yardstick and a measuring tool.
I'm sure he will. We've still got this battle with Manners, Crowther and Oromets fighting it out. We've still got Paddy Faulkner having a go here as well. He's being chased down by Tim Perry for the Altitude Esport Porsche here. Perry's going to try and run him around the outside. Faulkner thought about it. Is Perry going to hold it? They're going to lap. Oh, no!
Oh, and Faulkner's on his roof.
Paddy.
First roll of the season.
I wonder if that comes from Greg's.
Oh, dearie me.
Hey,
that was... hey, mate, you know what? You were absolutely entitled to do that. But Perry was turning in. Faulkner was not wanting to relinquish it. And there's the contact halfway through the corner. And Paddy Faulkner on his roof. Say goodbye, Paddy, I'm afraid, on that one. But you know what? When Tim Perry had the run coming down the start-finish straight, it was a case of one of my favourite phrases. It's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. Perry was the unstoppable force, turns in, there's the contact. And it's not just once, it's 2 or 3 times. They both end up spearing left into the barriers, off of Tarzan, job done.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let us know in chat where you think the blame is going to go on that one. If anywhere, did they just get locked together, which, as we know, has and can happen within iRacing. You do end up getting magnetized and then you just can't get off each other. Or was there an ounce of blame put somewhere as well? Let me know in YouTube chat what you think at the moment. Manners is defending for his life here. Absolutely doing a wonderful job. Is Ian Manners holding back Derek Crowther, holding back Oromets, holding back Rice as well. And Manners in that murk at the moment, Alex. A, he's got to be sweating. B, his arms are sweaty, knees weak, you know, as the rest of the Eminem song goes. But Manners is putting that car in the right place at the moment, and he's giving Derek Crowther a lot to think about. He's going to send it in deep on Crowther now. He is. Round turn 1 they go. Can Manners hold that line? That's how you probably realistically should have been done with Perry and Faulkner there.
Yeah, the thing is that there was no real room being given, but Crowther's just gone low at Hugenholtz. Manners gets the run coming out into Hunsrug, and there's Oromets, and he's going to fire it up the inside. That's brilliant from the Estonian. He's going to be wheel-to-wheel on the run through into Shivlak coming up shortly. Over the crest, into the right-hander. Crowther still stays ahead of the Estonian for now, but the way that Manners just hit the loud pedal, gave it the berries, and just launched it away, left Crowther standing, and Oromets thought, well, I've got an opportunity running up to Slaughtermacher, and nearly got the job done, but Crowther was wise enough just to stick himself in the middle.
Yeah, he did there as well. Crowther hung on to that position. He placed that car well. I'm not going to say that inside line hasn't worked, because we've seen that it's capable, but it's also very, very hard for the inside line to make that work when you have got that banking that will help you turn here as well. And I know that sounds crazy thing to say, Alex, doesn't it really, when we talk about banking and how it helps with the rotation of the car as well. But that is a thing, and for Ian Manners, you saw it there. He went in, slingshotted round that banking and come out and still took Crowther out in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is that Crowther keeping Manners very, very honest coming out of the final corner. Crowther looking towards the inside, gives him the old Nigel Mansell dummy. Oromets goes into the pits, down the start-finish straight. What's Crowther going to do? He's going to keep it high and wide, round the outside. Manners goes deep, 2 wheels off of the... outside of the white lines, and Crowther's going to get him through Gerlach-Bocht and in the run into Hugenholtz. Crowther that time kept the speed going through, now puts it high and wide, so Manners can't respond. Great work there from Derek Crowther in the number 67, 167.
Yeah, I've got to praise Crowther. That was just incredible what he did there as well. Western fighting it out with Mellis here. Mellis looked like he got that corner all completely wrong. And Western is obviously gaining places, up 8 at the moment here in this feature race. But for Crowther there, you can only, you know, I've had to sit here and clap, Alex. The way he set that up, into one. Manners tried to cut the corner as such, almost with 2 wheels over the inside curb. Crowther just slingshot, got in front of him, slingshotted it away. It took the same line that Manners did the lap before, and then slingshotted his way through. Stellar job from Derek Crowther. Absolutely amazing. Mellors and Western still going at it here. They're coming into turn 10. Now, that has got a fancy name as well. Or it's not actually, is it, Alex? It's called CM.com Racing now, isn't it?
Yeah, CM.com are the title sponsors of the circuit. Well, the circuit was originally known as Circuit Park Zandvoort, but then they shortened it. Jan Lammers was actually one of the people that helped to get the Dutch Grand Prix back to Zandvoort after quite a significant amount of time. 1985 was the last time the Dutch Grand Prix was held at Zandvoort before it came back 2 years ago. And there we are. 3 little ARS Porsches in a row. The gap between them, 7 tenths. And on the previous tour, well, Stein Wienemann was quickest out of anybody. 1 minute 40.748. Pollard 40.845. Simnor 40.979. So the gaps are decreasing. Tom Weston has now got past Stefan Mellis for 12th position overall. But I think this is where you see the GT4 chess game happening. that who's going to blink first out of these three. I think Veenman will be the one that might go maybe a lap or two longer. But look at the draft he's got on Pollard as they're coming down into Hans-Ernstbach, the right, and then into the sweeping left, which has a little bit of adverse camber to the left-hand side, and then runs out. Now, I've noticed that Veenman's been a little bit tighter than the two in front in terms of apex hitting, so to speak. You know, just making it a little bit cleaner, just making no sudden changes of direction. Yeah, he's losing a little bit of speed when they come out of the final corner, but then he starts gaining it all back because you're now going to see the closing speed between Veenman and Pollard. And on that lap, well, Veenman was the slowest, 141.168, so he's probably starting to struggle a little bit. Pollard is trying to put the feeders out on Simnor again, but it's about just sort of doing what you can. Just don't overdrive the car. You still got 25, just under 25 minutes to go, and your pit stop to facilitate in this second race. So you can't, if you overdrive the car, you're going to overheat the tyres, you're going to wear them down excessively, you might even burn a little bit of extra fuel doing so as well. So there's three different factors these drivers have to take into account here at Zandvoort, especially at this point where we're nearly at the halfway stage of the feature race.
There we are. The pit window is now open at the moment. We've got Evans, White, Faulkner, Williams, Perry, and of course we know we've lost Sean Yon Ye. I think we've lost Perry as well. Perry is out. We've got Williams, Faulkner, White, Evans, and I believe Toro Oromets, and all the ones that have pitted. Derek Craver last time out just done his fastest lap of the race on a 1:41.32. Now chasing down Needham in the Porsche. Now Andy Jones, we've got to give a shout out to. Saw what he did in race 1. We see where he is in race 2. We will pick up on Andy Jones shortly. I just want to see if Craver's going to be able to hang this round by Needham. Crowder doesn't this time around, but he is putting a lot of pressure on that Air Smart Racing Porsche there of Chris Needham, and he's giving him the hurry up. For Derek Crowder, again, another man that's up 11 positions here, Alex. He's done a great job in that BMW. Swapped back to it last week as well. I think he was in the Aston Martin before he changed over, and he's done a wonderful job. And now he's back in his favourite BMW. He's giving it some beans at the moment on the back of Needham, trying to go up to 12 places gained throughout the whole race.
Yeah, again, like I said earlier, it's just about keeping your nose clean. You just have to, you know, it's points on the board.
Yeah, Needham just disappeared there. So hopefully that's just a blip in the internet service. As we know, with anything, Alex, online, there's a lot of factors at the moment. I was a bit worried about my storm I had raging over my head here. As we can see, Crowther giving Needham the hurry up as they're going now into turn 3. Needham's gone on the inside. Crowther's going to use it as the slingshot. Here he comes now. Derek Crowther took that high, wide and handsome line, and he's wrapped it round the outside of Chris Needham. And that alone, Alex, just goes to show how strong that outside line round turn 3 is, and Needham come off there like an absolute Crowther come off there like an absolute rocket.
Yeah, it's like someone had gauged the afterburners on the BMW M4 GT4 at that point. But yeah, Crowther just, again, like we saw earlier on when he was having that battle with Oromets and with Manners, the way he just literally sent it around the outside like the other two were standing still. That's the beauty of that corner at Hugenholz. You get that run through there into Hunsrück, which is the straight line coming out of it, on the run to Slaughtermarker. If you're on the right-hand side and you've nailed that high line, you've got the better traction, because the camber on the inside, it takes long. You know, that camber doesn't go away like it does on the high part of the circuit.
And that's the thing. That high wide line has worked for Crowther. He's now opening up gaps on Needham and is now chasing down Barnes. Barnes has got a big old gap to Mike Pierce. Barnes has gone in. Pierce is not in. Crowther's coming in behind him there as well. Needham carries on. So these two here with Barnes and Crowther are the first ones out of the top 10 to make that dive in. You can see Rice has gone in straight behind him as well. Up front, Simnor now battling it out here with Pollard and Wienemann, and now they've got Rachel Howe and Richard White up the road here once more. How important is it that they either manage the back markers Alex, or the back markers manage them? Which way round are we expecting it to be?
Well, the thing is that when it comes to this kind of situation where you've got faster traffic coming behind you, it's not just the responsibility of the back marker, but it's also the responsibility of the faster traffic to safely make it through. You make one mistake, because now Simnor is the first one that's got to navigate them. He's got to do it quickly to get cars between himself and Pollard and Veenman. That's crucial for Simnor's strategy. And that's not how close you want to be coming out of turn number 13. Goes up the inside, does Richard Simnor. Now, because that Aston Martin of Rachel Howe has gone high and wide, has opened the door for the two behind Simnor to get through. There's Pollard going through, and by the time they hit Tarzan, there's Stein Veenman going through as well. So that really, by them being that close towards the end of the lap, the start-finish straight was the perfect opportunity for all three cars to get through.
Yeah, definitely there as well. I love Crichton on YouTube chat. That storm's just reached here. Elon Musk will cut the stream off for me in a moment as well. I'm guessing you're running, what's it, Skylink, isn't it? Elon Musk has got? Is it
Starlink or Skylink or something.
Starlink,
Yeah.
Skylink. So, yeah, as well. That was one of the options for myself here in Somerset to speed up my wonderful pigeon internet that I have. Unfortunately, the 1,800 quid, or I think it was 1,500 quid setup cost. A little bit out of my budget. I'm not going to lie. I'd rather just wait for me little BT to get me fibre optic, and I'll go with that. But at the moment, we're running here on what we can get here in Somerset. My dog's out the back, pedalling hard for me. He is generating a power on a Tesla coil. So let's see what happens once more with V-Man, Pollard, and Simnar, who will and have to pit, and I think it's going to be very, very shortly.
Yeah, there we go. Kreitzer saying, yeah, Starlink. Yeah, I mean, the thing is now we're past the halfway marker. That we're more than halfway past, the halfway stage of the race. I mean, we're coming up to 27 minutes. That's 18 minutes to go. Somerset boy James says, handsome Stew. I'm over here in Devon. 2 thumbs up, he says in the chat.
Not too far away for me, handsome Stew. I'll tell you that much. Go up the 303. You're literally where I am here. And unfortunately, being out in the country, we don't get fibre optic. There we go. Sad times for me.
Neither do I where I live, either in North Essex. Right on the Suffolk border, we don't get fibre optic yet either.
Do you not get fibre optic up there?
Don't ask.
No, me neither.
I don't want to go through. I don't want to go through painful memories of being told about it that ain't going to happen for another 2 years.
Yeah, mate, I've been the same thing. And what's worse is my estate is like a rectangle. The left-hand side of the estate, my mate's got fibre optic, and he only lives 50 yards down the road from me. But everyone on the right-hand side hasn't got it. So, yeah, that's an interesting. I tried even picking up his Wi-Fi from my house, but I can't pick it up. So, you know what I mean?
Damn.
I know.
Damn.
That's what I thought. I did suggest to him, can we run a cable from my house down into his router? But he also said no. So that's a bit of a shame. So
In words to that effect.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a different conversation compared to he just saying no, but we can't repeat that on TV. So we'll just leave it as it is for now and just say that he said no. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there we go. Back to the racing. 16 and a half minutes. These front three have still not pitted. In fact, everybody down to Stefan Mellis. Stefan Mellis is the last man in 10th place who hasn't pitted. Everybody above that hasn't pitted. Everybody below that, with Crowther, Barnes, Oramet, Rice, White, Howe, Faulkner, Evans, Williams, they all have pitted. So let's see how this one goes when these front 10 start coming into the pits.
Yeah, because if Simnor, Pollard and Veenman all come in at the same time, guess who's the de facto leader after that point? Andy Jones. Andy Jones currently sitting P4. He's only 6.5 seconds behind Veenman. Has been lapping within about 7/10 of the Dutchman at the moment. So it's been a pretty solid evening for Andy Jones. Yeah. I think for me, he's got a... Despite that quali ban with swapping cars, he's really showcased that, yeah, I can go from an Aston to a McLaren, keep my calm in the first race and be in the top 5, Danny Weston has just gone in from 9th, 3rd in the AMS, so... Well, 2nd in the AMS. But yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out between the top 3, because they're 8.5 tenths of a second apart.
Do you know what's worse for me? I would love to see these 3. I know they're teammates. But for me, I'd love to see them in separate voice chats. Now, I know these guys all hang out together, right? They're all in a voice chat together, the ARS boys. So I would love to see them in a separate voice chat and say, now run your race, but don't tell the others what you're going to do. Because they are going to be communicating, right? If Signal's going to be, right, lads, I'm going in. Pollard's going to be, right, I'm going in. And Weinman, well, he's gone in, had to go in a little bit early, but we thought he would be the one who would stay out the longest.
Well, the funny thing is, we can see on the Discord with regards to the chat that the only person that has not got any voice or audio open is Mikey Pierce. He's just gone, I don't want any part of this. Andy Jones now comes into the pit, so does Pierce. So, could we see that maybe the rest of them, so Needham, Manners and Weston are the last of the top 8. Everyone else, so Andy Jones, Steve Veenman, 12.9 seconds in his pit stop, in his pit box. Andy Jones, 16.1. Ottomets has just gone off. Ottomets has just gone off big time and lost out to Stuart Rice. Let's see. Oh, he's just put it on the gravel and he's lost it. And it's bang. It's at the barriers. Right front takes the impact and he manages to get it back going again.
Now we can see Mellis moving out the way. Needham is in. Weston is in. It's all about where Crowther's going to do. He's going to jump Weston. He's going to jump Needham. How close is he going to be to coming out for Pierce? Pierce has just gone off round turn 3. So Crowther's still got a little bit of work to do at the moment here as well. Manners has not gone in that Mercedes. Sidner and Pollard have still not made that jump. Weston's on his way out. He's going to come out behind Stuart Rice. Stuart Rice there in 3rd overall in the AMS, 10th. No, 3rd in class, 10th in AMS. Sorry, I'll get my words right. But Tom Weston has come out in front of Danny Weston. The two brothers there could end up in a nice tidy battle. Needham with Barnes not too far away.
Yeah, this is getting a bit up close and personal. This is coming out of Shivlak and into Masters as the Porsche defends. Merck looks up the inside. That's very, very close indeed. Careful, Mr. Needham. Mr. Barnes is looking up the inside. That's through turn number 10. Oh, Needham runs a little bit wide. Barnes to the outside now into the next left-hander. Well, this is turn 10. Barnes still keeping it round the outside. Careful of the gravel on the right-hand side there, Mr. Barnes. He slots in behind Mr. Needham on the run down to Hans Ensbach. So Needham has got the frighteners put on him by Barnes, and Barnes is trying everything in his powers to get past, but he might do so coming out of turn number 14 very shortly, but he has a bit of a wobble. Bit of a wobble out there coming out of turn 12.
I tell you what, Barnesy there, new underpants in that Mercedes for Chris Barnes on that one, because that was a big old wobble there as well for Chris Barnes. He lost that position away from Needham. They've both gone past Manners at the moment, with Rice in 10th, Weston in 11th. Where is Manners going to come out? He's on his way out. There's Stuart Rice. I think Manners should get past him here as well. It's a very tight entry, and we've seen cars run wide on the way out. He is out in front of Stuart Rice, but boy, oh boy, for Chris Barnes there. Woo, that could have been dangerous.
Code Brown in full effect there for Mr. Barnes.
Oh, absolutely.
For the two, I think there might have been at least one, maybe two, maybe even 3 changes of underwear for him just then. Because that was just like full on wobble. Hold it together. Don't put it in the barriers, please.
Oh, yes. So Barnes is coming back at Needham once more. Veenman jumped the boys in the pit stop. He is out in front. Veenman has jumped Simnor. He's jumped Pollard, Alex, and it's come out exactly where you predicted he would be.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we don't always get it right, but I thought, well, if he's going to be a person that's going to be brave... Now, look at it from this perspective. The gap between Stein Veenman and also Richard Simnor at the minute is 1.1 seconds. Simnor and Pollard were both in the pit box for at least 14.5 seconds. So by Wienman doing the big old El Grande undercut has worked, and now he's got clean air, and he's got 10 minutes. 10 minutes to go. That's probably going to be what? Probably about 6 or 7 laps. And you know what? It was a shrewd move by him. He was saving fuel, but the good thing is, by saving fuel behind Pollard and Simnor, he spent only 13 seconds in the pit box.
Exactly. He's now got a second here as well. Danny Weston fighting out with Torno Oromets, the Mercedes and the BMW going down into turn 1, 9:36 on the clock. Here, so can Weston clear Oromets? This is 5th and 4th in class here. So let's see what happens once more with these drivers and whether or not Weston is going to gain them points, them vital points here as well. Don't forget, guys, the new TCR season kicks off this Friday. We've got 33 cars out of a grid of 40 signed up so far, ready to go on the JPB American Tour Championship, off to some great America's circuits. And I say because we are going to Canadian Tire Motorsport. So, you know, we're leaving America briefly to come back again. So, great American circuits on the layout. So, get yourselves involved if you want to. Discord links down in the description below. jbbroadcasting.com/league racing. You can find all the details there for the new season of the TCRs. That kicks off on Friday. So, stay tuned for that one. That's going to be epic. But back to tonight, Danny Weston, Oromets, Barnes, Simnar, all fighting within a second.
It's absolutely brilliant, just the way that the first race was a calamity. The second race, we've seen some great skills, we've seen some great overtaking. Derek Crowther doing the double, coming out of Hugenholtz and Hunzerug on 2 respective drivers tonight, and has very much earned his place, starting 19th at the grid, on the grid, about 37 minutes ago. We've got 8 to go, and Tom Weston has come into the pits again. I wonder why that is.
Speeding straight through. Straight through.
That's a drive. If that was a drive-through, that might have been for incident points there.
Whoa. Weston racking them up. Paddy Faulkner going alongside Richard White here. So let's see how this one turns out. Paddy, of course, had a bit of a rough one in race 1. He does make it clean through cleanly here as well for Paddy Faulkner over Richard White. But that's a great job there from Paddy. And, well, he moves himself up a little bit. 9th in class, 15th overall. Simnor has closed on Wienman here, Alex. It's now whether or not Wienman can hold it, stay in front of him.
Oh, we want to hear from you lot in the chat. Who's your money on, Simnor or Wienman? That's the thing. It's about now that Wienman has the right of way, has the opportunity to keep the number 66 car on the racing line, hit his marks, don't overdrive the car, hit the apexes where he needs to, exit out of the corners with enough throttle position at the right place at the right time. But it's dependent on how hard Simnor is going to challenge him. Now, we've seen it before where Simnor has been in the thick of things at the sharp end. We've seen that for multiple different races this season. But I think Wienman's going to start defending very, very shortly, because that gap is now 0.6 of a second. Simnor was nearly 0.4 quicker on the previous lap. We're on to lap number 23 with 6.25 minutes to go. I think it's going to be close, but the only real place that Simnor will want to do the move on Wienman will be coming out of turn 14 and down that start-finish straight. If he does it anywhere else, he might have a problem either trying to go up the inside, or if Wienman makes a mistake at one point on the circuit. But I don't think that's going to happen, as in the latter.
Well, we were going to find out in the next 5 minutes, Alex, basically. As you can see in YouTube chat, that is my current Starlink business deal. £1,080 a month, $2,400 for the hardware, and that's a 6 terabyte deal, Alex. But you think we could justify £1,080 a month on broadband?
I could buy a new computer for that.
I know. That's like 12 grand a year just on internet. That just seems crazy. And obviously the cheaper ones underneath, and that's for a 1 terabyte service, £180 a month. 570 quid for the hardware. Oh, blimey.
You could still buy. Well, I mean, the thing is, if it's like 12 grand a year for service, 3 years you will have paid off HP a nice little second-hand used hot hatch.
Yep, absolutely. I fully agree there. And yeah, I don't know if I'm heading down that way. Let's just put it this way. I think I might have to wait till 2024. But there we go. We've all kind of settled down a little bit now. And that people are starting to open up a little bit of a gap. This front end has come a bit closer. They've dropped Pollard, though. So Mikey Pollard has been dropped off here. Alex as well, 3.6 seconds back. So that's a long old drop-off for Pollard. Beeman is just coming up to the back of Richard White. 4 tenths now for Simnor as well. 4.5 minutes to go. This is going to be very, very close between these two lead cars.
Well, Veenman's got to get past very, very quickly. And now they're coming out of turn number 14. This is where the overspeed's going to start happening for Simnor. And look how close he is onto the start-finish straight. 2 tenths and closing. Make that just under 2 tenths on the run down towards Tarzan. And they pretty much take the same line. Well, no, Veenman was a little bit deeper onto the apex. So they've got to get past Richard White very, very quickly indeed. And it's going to be coming out. Well, White pulls the left-hand side. Very good spatial awareness there from Richard White. Well done there, sir. And now out of that corner, again, just now going up to Slaughtermarker and into Shivlak. This is a place that could be a vulnerability for Veenman if Simnor was a little bit closer. If he was right up the rear exhaust pipe of the number 66, then he might have a sniff, maybe stick a nose up the inside to tell Veenman that he's there. This just really goes to show that I don't think... Well, Veenman's not going to make it easy for Simnor at all. Alan Nuth saying, the Macca of Andy Jones in P4. Good to see that as that's such an underrated car. Tomski89 says, are you planning another GT4 season after this one is finished? Please tell us. Well, what have you got to say to that latter question there, JP?
Yes.
You had it, Tomski89. You got your answer. Yes. So there will be a season 3.
There is a season 3 in the pipe works as well. Jason Addington, who is currently on holiday at the moment, so letting him go and enjoy his holiday, and then we will start working on looking at next season. We normally start planning around about round 5 and 6. Clio's is already planned. That's going to be another new season of the Clio's, and TCRs are kicking off on Friday for season 2. Simnor giving Veeman a bit of an action-packed scenario here, as we've got 2 laps remaining, 2 minutes on the clock. This is going to be an interesting one as these guys head round turn 3.
Yeah, looking a little bit further back, there's a battle in the AMS for 4th place. That's for 11th overall. Tarnal Oromets has got Danny Weston closing in to within 8.5 tenths of a second. There they are, going through into what is now turn number 10. So, but Veenman at the minute, as soon as he crosses that line, he knows that he'll have one more lap to go. As folks, 1 minute 40 until the checkered. Veenman, when he crosses the line, which is probably going to be in about... it's 1 minute 41 a lap.
About 40 seconds time.
So, yeah, so in about 40 seconds time, he'll cross the line. He'll have the white flag from Barney the Flag Marshal on the start-finish straight, as they're now coming out of turn 10 through the run in towards Hans Ernst. What's going to be the penultimate time? Yeah, Simnor hasn't chanced it, but the thing is that from Simnor, he can go for the win 100%, but he's now going to have an advantage going into round 5 next week at Brands Hatch when we hit half-time in this second season of the JPB GT4 series. He will have a little bit of an advantage over Mikey Pollard, and he'll want to consolidate that. If he tries to go for a move and tries to win it and bin it, as we now come out of the final corner, last lap, lap 27 underway, Veenman with a massive grand undercut has kept it ahead at the moment, but Simnor 3 tenths going into Tarzan for the final time. Oh, he was late on the brakes with Simnor right there on the apex. Veenman got out of dodge very, very quickly, but Simnor was closing rapidly.
Oh, that could have handed the win to Mikey Pollard, Alex. If that was one little pace, one little bit of contact there, that could have been them two off, and Mikey Pollard would have come through and taken that victory. But once more, Stein Wienman and Richard Simnor here on their way round into turn 8 at the moment here as well before they get the final run. Not many corners left here, Alex. Into turn 9 they go. They've got literally 5 corners to go. Who's going to be the victor?
It could come down to a photo finish. Wienman goes a little bit wide, carries the momentum through, closes off the door very nicely ahead of Simnor. Now it's the run down to Hans Ernst for the final time. Wienman extends his lead to about 3.5 tenths. Hard onto the brakes they will go now as they go over the crest. Into the right, into the left. Gap still 4 tenths of a second. I think Simnor's best opportunity is trying to get a run coming out of turn 13 and 14. Now into turn 13. They're going to have the aggressive banking coming up next for the Addy lined-up corner. But Wienman's still keeping his nerve, staying ahead, out of the final turn. It could be a run to the line. Simnor's putting the pedal to the metal. Wienman leading. Who's going to take it at the flag? It is going to be... It's a win on home soil! The Dutchman's done it!
Yeah, Stein Wienman there coming over the line, pulls a master stroke in the pits. Absolutely comes and crushes it here. Leaves Simnor Pollard in his wake. In the AM Championship, it is Mikey Pierce who's going to come over the line again and take that second victory with Barnsey in second place. And it looks like Stuart Rice has claimed third in the AMs. So Mikey Pierce comes over, takes that victory in the AMs there, Alex, and a stellar job from him. But what a race from Stein Wienman. Incredible home turf win, and he nailed it in the pit stops.
Absolutely brilliant. That I thought that might be the case, that by staying behind, that strategy that Wienman did was textbook. That's what you needed to do. Save those little bits of fuel. And what he did was he went in earlier. That was the crucial point. He went in earlier. He blinked first and went, you know what? I'm going to spend as much time as I need to. And it was only 13 seconds. So he must have had a little bit more fuel reserve than Simnor and Pollard and jumped the pair of them. And Simnor went with him. And there is Danny Weston flashing his lights across the line. That's going to be P5 in the AM for him. Stefan Mellis still battling away with Paddy Faulkner. They're coming out of the final corner now. And that is the battle for 13th overall. That's who have they got in front of them? That's a Merc with a very... Oh, that's Mr. Williams with the missing front bumper, and Mellis has got Faulkner up his exhaust pipe, but still pips the Brit to the checkered. I have to say, my driver of the night, despite changing cars, qualifying ban, started 20th, got himself up to 7th for the feature, and finished in P4. My driver of the night has to be Andy Jones. That was a mega performance from him tonight.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I've got to agree with you on that one. Andy Jones did an absolute amazing job. But here are the results from race 2 there. Stein Wienman wins here in the Netherlands at Zandvoort. Richard Simnor in second. Mike Pollard in third. Andy Jones in fourth. That's your 1, 2, 3, 4 here in Zandvoort. Mike Pierce wraps up the AMs. Second win of the evening. Derek Crowther, Chris Needham separating the AMs with Chris Barnes, Ian Manners and Stuart Rice. Stuart Rice, Barnes and Pierce are your podium in the AMs. Torno Oromets in 11th. Danny Weston 12th. Stefan Mellis 13th. Paddy Faulkner couldn't recover, gets down back to 14th. 14th though there as well. Richard White in 15th. Chris Evans 16th. Rachel Howe in 17th place. Robert Williams in 18th. Tom Weston, Tim Perry and Arnold Chonier did not finish the race there as well. But some great racing overall, when we can have a chat with the man that's taken 2 podiums in the AMs this evening. Didn't know if he would quite have the pace. He drives with a steering wheel strapped to a desk. Let's have a chat with Stuart Rice. Welcome in, Stuart. How are you, sir?
I am good. Surprised, slightly. I mean, the question is how, I guess, on my own. But that's. Yeah, I always question how when I have a bit of pace, because it wasn't there in practice, in my opinion.
Okay,
So-
well, you were the one in the car. The Aston Martin was supposed to be dubbed the weakest car here as well. Bit of a rough one to drive, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It's not easy. It's a car that loves to be tail happy in general. But to be fair, I think there was considerable amount of luck throughout that race, to be fair, given the first race with the massive sort of group of cars that all went off. Somehow managed to get through. But yeah, it is a bit of a boat. I think that's the best way to explain the Aston.
Yeah, it definitely was there. So I think it was definitely a tough one for the Aston Martin drivers. I think that's going to be the thing, isn't it, here as well? You know, it's always tough when the car has been classed as one of the weakest cars here. You know, for you overall, though, 2 podiums in a row, that gives you a nice little bump in the AM Championship. Could you get the podium in the AMs?
I'd certainly like to, but I think it's probably just, for me, too early to say, because the last few races I've done haven't been fantastic. So I've sort of got to see where I stand when we go to Brands. But other than that, I think, yeah, there's a chance. I will say there's a chance, but I'm not too confident. No, that's probably not a great answer.
Well, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. You know,
Honest answer, yeah.
only you can tell what your chances are. Obviously, for me and Alex, we sit up here in the booth. We're not in the car. We don't know what's going on. But overall, 2 podiums in a row. Great boost on points. Well done to you. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
If I'm honest, all the guys at Triple P, because they're all brilliant and they're all just fantastic teammates. So
awesome stuff.
And also, I will quickly shout out Rachel Hoff, just a point on the name pronunciation, because I did grab it during the warm-up. It's Hoff. But yeah, Rach as well, driving on a controller somehow.
Oh, stellar job.
Yeah, we've got another controller racer.
Yes, stellar job then. Right, Hoff, Alex,
Yeah.
Hoff. We'll have to remember that one. Not how. All right.
Remembered.
We've got it sorted. Stuart, thank you so much for that one, buddy. And we'll look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, next up, I tell you what we're doing. Let's bring in Richard Simnor here, the man who took the victory in race 1, had the victory in his grasp in race 2, and then only a masterstroke from his teammate stole the victory away. The man for the AI, racesummaries.com/Tracy team. 2 podiums this evening. Richard Simnor, welcome in, dear sir. How are you?
I'm all right, a little bit hot.
I can imagine.
Quite tense racing, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet it is, mate, to be fair. You know, race 1, though, let's have a quick chat about that. You know, out in front, backed the grid up, made the jump, took the checkered flag. Easy as that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? It looks as easy as that from the outside, but we have coined the pebble on the exit of the last but one corner the magic friction pebble, because if you just clip it, you lose about half a second down the straight. So we did everything to avoid it, and yeah, it was just a flawless race. Didn't make any mistakes. Mikey behind was quick, so was Stein. I mean, it's very hard when you've got 2 very competitive and very, very quick teammates sort of keeping you honest. But yeah, I made it. It was all right. I survived. I feel more like I survived than I won, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Was there a chance, though, in race 1 that you were going to be challenged by either Stein or Mike, do you reckon?
I think we all made the mistake and touched the pebble on the same lap. So my mistake was also shadowed by the other 2 guys. So
what is this pebble you are talking about?
Honestly, if you watch the cars on the out exit of the last but one corner. If they touch the gravel there, they lose a massive amount of speed.
Oh, okay. Well, fair play to you there as well. But you know, double podium, not too bad overall.
I can't argue really. Can't argue with that. Like I say, we've been practicing hard, and the two guys are we're all within a tenth of each other's pace, and on each, depending on which day you catch us, one of us is quicker, the other one's quicker. So we knew it was always going to be tough. I think with the pit stop, I was just the most conservative out of the three, because I knew I'd be the one putting my foot to the floor, trying to stay ahead, and they could save a little bit. So yeah, I kind of had an inkling, like when I saw Stein pull off, I was like, okay, yeah, it's going to be he's going to be trying something to try and get ahead of us. And wow, didn't expect him to get both of us. That was something really, really good. I think well worth applauding that, to be fair.
He did a great job. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Richard. Anyone you would like to give a shout out to before we let you go this evening?
I'd just shout out the guys, really, because we've all been working hard, pushing each other, helping each other out, and we like to do as much as we can to lift up the sort of slower guys so that they're on our pace. And yeah, I think it's showing. The effort that we're all putting in is showing. So I'd like to sort of thank the whole team for their efforts.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy, and we look forward to chatting to you next week.
Cheers. Thank you.
Take care. Right, now we are going to bring in the man who took the podium in race 1. He was third. He then went into race 2, took the victory away with some great pit stops maneuvers. Let's see if I can get his name right. Welcome in, Stein Beanman.
Hey, that's pretty close. Thank you very much.
Hey, nailed it. Crushed it. Hello, Stein. How are you, buddy?
Nice. Very good. I'm very happy to win this race. It's my first feature race, and it was a tough one, but it was a fun one.
Home surface, home soil.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned it last week, and I thought, we'll see what we can do. We'll practice. But I felt strong during the week, and then in the race, I was struggling to keep on, especially in the sprint race. But we made it in the feature. It was I saved a lot of fuel in the first stint, I think. And I really pushed it on the fuel. I don't know if you saw it on the broadcast, but I was lifting a lot on the final stint, the last 5-6 laps. I had to really save fuel. And then on the last lap, I ran out as I crossed the finish line. So it was very marginal, to say the least.
Yeah, but it worked. That overcut,
exactly.
The undercut you produced was incredible. And at the end of the day, you've done a stellar job. You've taken the victory. Here, you've given yourself a nice little bump in points, a podium and a win. But Pollard and Simnot did the same thing. They got podiums. Simnot got a podium and a win. So I think by the time the points come around, you're probably going to be not too far away from each other. What are you going to do, right? You're in the ARS team. You're battling away. You get all the way into round 10. You're all level. Are you then GNU, no holds barred? Or are you going to think about teamwork? What's going to be the situation, you think, if that actually happens in race 10?
I think as long as we're fighting, if within the team, I think we will fight it out. Especially this race and then last race. If we weren't teammates, it would be a lot more aggressive. We do fight each other. We won't give each other any freebies, but at the end of the day, we are fighting all for the championship. So we give each other maybe a little bit more room than other people might, but in the end, we do fight for it.
Okay, well, here's the deal, right? If by the time we get to the end of the season, and you guys are all within about 10 or 15 points in with each other, you all have to race in separate voice chats, so none of you know what the other ones are doing.
I think even in this race, we weren't even discussing the fuel. I wasn't sharing my fuel strategy with them, and last race as well. Me and Mikey fighting at Road Atlanta. We were both muted, so once the race gets on, we do focus, and it is our own race.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you might have been communicating there as well. Piercy says poker game to settle it, Stein, and we know how that one turned out for us the other day over the weekend, didn't it? It didn't quite go
I don't
so
think
well.
that's my strong point. No.
Well, Stein, as long as no one else cheats in that poker game, you'll be fine.
Hey, none of us. Well, I don't know. I didn't cheat. Stein, did you cheat?
if I cheated, I would have a different story to tell because I'm lost on the standings. So that'd be even more shaming if I was cheating.
Yeah, I know. If we cheated this time, both of us got it completely wrong because
exactly.
You're out of pocket, I'm out of pocket at the moment as well. So there we go. But going forward, thank you, Stein, for joining us as well. Looking forward to seeing how you get on for the season. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
It's got to be the Dutch fans here at the track, right? No, it's great. It's great to win here at the home track, and a win always. It's tough with the team, so it's definitely good to win.
Oh, absolutely. Stein, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, bud, and I look forward to seeing how you get on next week.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you go, Alex. 2 ARS, Stuart Rice putting on a superb performance as well. It's been a great night, to be fair, hasn't it? The newly scanned Zandvoort produced some of the racing. It gave us that slingshot out of 3. It gave us it coming off turn 13, and then talking about a magic pebble. It's been interesting.
I was going to say, what has Richard Simnor consumed in the last 24 hours to tell us about a magic pebble?
What is this magic pebble?
It's sorcery. I was going to say, is that something from Harry Potter that was never discussed by J.K. Rowling? It's just like magic pebble. Yeah, I mean You know what? I'm not going to even talk about magic pebbles anymore. I think we're both confused as it is anyway.
My puppy loves leaving me little magic pebbles around the house at the moment as well.
Oh, don't start with that talk. Oh, God.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
That's the pitfalls of being a dog owner, and I know that for a fact.
Yeah, he loves leaving little pebbles at the moment, does my lovely little puppy. So there you go. Great job from him and everyone here as well. It's been a very exciting race. Last word from you, Alex?
Bring on Brands Hatch next week, folks. The Garden of England, tight, fast flowing. I think we could see a bit more calamity on the cards for the halfway point of season 2.
I fully agree. So don't forget, guys, as well, stay tuned as here on the JPB YouTube channel. We've got a lot more racing coming up. Tomorrow night is a busy one. There is 3 broadcasts going out within an hour of each other. We got the TSRC Season 6 GT3 going out tomorrow, the Radical Race Series from Oulton Park as well for the SR10s, and Evolution Sim Racing. Their round 1 is kicking off from Brands Hatch. So get yourselves involved in that one. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, turn on the bells. But for now, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I've been James Parfitt alongside my good friend Alex Goldschmidt. Take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.